Hello, welcome. It's the end of the first week of September. Before we discuss what's going on right now, let's have a quick catch up from Dave last week, just to bring us up to speed. Over to you, Dave. Thanks for that, Dave. It's the 31st of August at the minute. The harvesting of the tomatoes and the green beans continue. There's nothing really exciting about that, not video worthy. Worst case, you put your back out reaching for a tomato you've dropped, or manage to poke yourself in the eye with a green bean. So regular viewers will notice my sweet corn has disappeared. So all my sweet corn at the end of April. I sowed some direct, which were down there, but I did sow some corn in the greenhouse. Germination rate wasn't good. The plants were always weaker than the direct sown ones. The cobs hadn't developed. Really, there was nothing on those plants. They started to get eaten as well, so time for them to go. So my direct sown sweet corn was more of a success. Virtually all of those germinated, big, strong, healthy plants, nice fat cobs on them with the tassels at the top starting to turn brown, which means they're ready for harvesting. I did notice last week that some had started to get nibbled and eaten. So I decided to put some organza bags over some of the corn to protect them. I'd use those bags to protect my cherries and my currants from the birds, and that worked. But coming back this week, a lot more had got nibbled, and even a couple in the organza bags. Rats, if I'm honest, I suspect, nibbled through those bags. The corn is not safe. Time for all those to be removed. That being said, the organza bags did provide some protection. Of the 7 cobs that survived, 6 of those were in organza bags. So time to whip those bags off and have a look at the corn. So I did feel bad for my friend on the next door plot. All his sweet corn gone at exactly the same time as me. He was left with nothing. So I gave him 2 of my cobs. He was really pleased with that. And just wandering around the plot 5 minutes later. Hey Dave, I hear the cry. Do you want some of my grapes? Perfect. That's, that shows the allotment spirit. Bit of swapping of produce. In terms of the pumpkin and squash, I did notice a couple more zombie pumpkins had turned completely orange and the plant had died back, so removed those. And added them to the pumpkin display. So the baked and mashed potato squash we've got, most are still white, but one has turned an ivory colour and is ready. Look at that. In front of that there was one of the last onions I have yet to harvest, so I took that out of the ground, put that in the shed/slash greenhouse to store for a bit, to harden the skin off on the outside, make it better for longer term storage. I did take the opportunity though to review the situation. It's time to take all the rest of the garlic and onions I had in storage home and put them in a dark cupboard. All that's left in there now is a couple of onions that I've harvested very recently, 1 clove of elephant garlic from this year's crop I'm going to sow again, and some broad beans from this year's crop I'm drying out to sow again in October, November time. That's it from the 31st of August. Back to you, Dave. So here we are, back at the end of the first week of September. There's been a bit of a change in the weather the past week, which might affect my harvesting priorities. But first of all, we'll update you on that sweet corn. Every single cob that survived was perfect. I did get a bit excited and forgot to take any photos. We did manage to get one of them when they were cooked, covered in nice herby butter, absolutely delicious. In terms of that baked potato squash we picked, it's my first time trying those. Unbelievable. Cut them in half, take the seeds out, put olive oil and salt and pepper on them, roast them in the oven for 3/4 of an hour, and the consistency is exactly like a baked potato, mashed potato. Unbelievable. I cannot wait to try some more, and I've got plenty of them, so that's fine. So like I said, the weather has changed in the past week. We are now into meteorological autumn. Let's have a look at the implications of that on the plot. Firstly, we had a lot of heavy rain this week. The ground is moist for the first time in months and months. My pumpkin and squash have got muddy splashes up the side of every single one of them where the really heavy rains hit the soil and splashed up. We've got a couple of days of sunny weather and then it's back to rain. So I'm going to think about accelerating my harvest of my pumpkin and squash, or any that I don't harvest, raise them up off the ground so they're not in contact with the wet soil. And secondly, along with all that rain came a lot of wind, so my bean frame that looked like this a couple of weeks ago now looks like this. Time to harvest the rest of the beans, I think. So that's my Blue Lake climbing beans done for the year. It's been a really good year for green beans. I've lost track of how many kilograms of beans we've had. We were thinking 3, 4, 5 kilograms. And I've still got my dwarf beans over there, unaffected by the wind due to their small stature. So sometimes nature helps you know when to harvest things. It might be the wind bringing down my beans, it might be the wet weather putting my pumpkins and squash in danger of rotting, or it might be animals in the example of my sweet corn. But sometimes there's some produce where it's a bit unclear when to harvest. So pears ripen best off the tree, and they ripen from the inside out. So if you leave them on the tree till they're all soft, it might be too late. So this pear I took off the tree last week and I kept it at home, just in the kitchen, and it is now considerably softer than the pears still on the tree. I know you can't tell, I know you can't tell, I can tell. Let's see if you bite into it, if you can hear the difference. So this is a pear straight off the tree, which is a little bit more hard. It's okay, but there's definite crunch there. This is the pear that's been off the tree a week. Yep, you can definitely tell the difference. So I'm going to get all the pears off my tree. So it's been a really good year for pears. I'm really pleased with that crop. In terms of the apples, they're starting to turn red, but I know from experience my apples need to be a lot more ripe before they taste any good. So it's a balancing act with them. With autumn comes a lot more windy weather, so balancing when they're ripe versus losing a load to windfall, which has already started, is going to be key. Same goes for my plums. That's why tomorrow is going to be plum day. But first of all, I'm just going to mop up a bit of cropping some tomatoes and courgettes. So the day of plum picking is finally here. I'm trying to find the right balance between ripeness of fruit, the plums dropping off the tree, and taking into account increasing wind speed as we go through the year. I think I've got the balance right, and today is the perfect day. We are going to need a ladder for this. Before we start up the ladder, I'm quite literally going to be picking the low-hanging fruit. Plum 1, piece of cake. Plutum. Plum 2 and 3, all good so far. We're doing alright so far, Right, I have picked every plum that my 5'6.5" frame can reach. Yeah, I'm going to start getting vertical now. Had a quick walk around the tree, and I don't think there's that many more up there, but the best point of access is past the apple tree. Up here, see one in the distance there, there's one. Up there, there's one there. I'll take you up the tree with me. Right, here we go. Into the middle of the tree. Plum. It's a bit hard to see. There's one there. There's one there. I've got two. Oh, hang on. Third one. I'm going to, yeah, I'm going to have to go up and down the ladder and take these up and down. Right. Let's go back down the ladder, and I'm going to get into the tree, I think. Hazard. My t-shirt caught on a branch. Come on. Oh yeah. There we go. Put them plums with the rest. Right. Let's go up and into the tree. When you're 53 years old, there's not many excuses to climb a tree, so you've got to make the most of it while you can. The ladder is down there. I am now balanced in the tree, leaning back against a nice thick branch. We have some plums dead ahead. Dead ahead. Here we go. Plum. So you can see some of the plums are no good, but most are okay. If you're plum picking in a tree, make sure you've got ample pockets. I don't want to be coming up and down here too much. Right, I'm going to put the camera away because I'm going to try and reach that one. Let me zoom in. I'll try and reach that one, and we don't want any accidents, do we? I'll see you when we're back down on the ground. And we're back down. Hopefully the plums have survived in my pocket. Got down to the pile. So, thankfully not that many up there. I'm going to have another skate around the tree, see if there's any, but I think plum harvest is done. That was mildly exciting and without incident. So with the sweet corn harvested, the green beans harvested, the plums and the pears, the plot's starting to sort of thin out. There's less to worry about now as we enter autumn. We've still got plenty on the go. We've got potatoes, the main crop, we've got beetroot, we've got leeks, we've still got tomatoes and chilies and stuff. So all is good. There's just, like I say, less to worry about now. Yeah, so it's been a pretty good year so far. It's starting to rain, so I'm going to put my squash and pumpkin on some bricks. I joke, of course. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching. Click subscribe. Send me a comment. I'll see you next time. Cheers.